The afternoon stretches long and slow. The sun drops just enough to cast the field in bronze, and every motion feels earned. This is the hour when work turns from labor to rhythm, when each pass feels like punctuation instead of struggle. I glance at the gauges, pressure steady, temperature kind. The engine hums like a promise kept. If machines could smile, this one would. A breeze slips through the window, carrying the scent of chaff and sunlight. It smells like memory, warm, brief, and impossible to hold. I let it pass through me, unmeasured, undeserved, entirely real. There was a time when I counted every hour by what broke. Now I count them by what endures. The math feels lighter, cleaner, almost merciful. A hawk circles above the far tree line, the kind of small omen you learn not to ignore. It drifts steady, patient, certain of the next current. I envy that kind of trust in the air. Maybe that's what turning points are. Moments when faith outweighs fear by just a feather, and that's enough to lift you. The last trailer fills slow, like the day taking a deep breath before it exhales. Each kernel lands with the sound of a heartbeat steadying after a climb. I shut the gate, wipe my hands, and let the silence settle. For a long time I stand there, not thinking, just being. The hum of distant engines fades into the background of belonging. It's a rare thing to feel part of something larger than your own exhaustion. The sun hits the bin roof and turns it to fire. Shadows stretch long enough to reach tomorrow. I take that as permission to rest, just for a breath. I whisper a thank you no one hears. To the weather, the iron, the ghost, the soil. Not for fortune, but for another day that didn't quit on me. That's all the miracle I need. The engine shuts off with a sigh, the kind of sound that means both ending and promise. Dust drifts like incense, holy in its own small way. Tomorrow will come, and we'll start again. Evening begins the way all endings do, quietly, almost unnoticed. The sun slides behind the ridge, and what's left of the light softens every edge it touches. The color of the fields turns from gold to memory. Engines idle lower, voices fade. The valley that roared at noon now breathes like a sleeping animal. Each sound that remains feels sacred. The hum of cooling steel, the tick of a slowing engine, the heartbeat in my ears. A crow cuts across the sky, black against amber. It draws a single line through the evening, like punctuation on the day's long sentence. I take it as a sign, period, not full stop. In the mirror, the field stretches behind me, neat and finished. There's pride there, but also humility. The land always has the last word. We just write it in for a while. I park by the barn, engine ticking like an old clock finding rest. The smell of diesel lingers, sweet and sharp, braided with the scent of cut grain and tired sweat. These are the perfumes of purpose. Inside, the shadows are friendly, long, familiar, forgiving. Tools hang in silhouette, outlines of effort frozen mid-gesture. They'll wait, as they always do, without judgment. I run a rag over the hood, not to clean it, but to say thank you. Machines understand gratitude better than people think. They answer in longevity. Outside, the air cools. Gravel crunches under boots. A rhythm older than prayer. The first stars appear, brave and small, rehearsing the night. I find myself whispering, not words, just release. The kind that comes after survival. The kind that doesn't need to be heard. The land hears it anyway. doesn't fall here, it seeps. It moves slow, like oil through cloth, filling every hollow with blue. The machines fade first, then the birds, then the mind. The last light clings to the grain bin roof before surrendering to dusk. I watch it disappear without sadness. Endings are softer when they earn their place. We've earned this one. The wind has changed. It carries cool air from the north, clean, forgiving, full of space. I breathe it in like currency and feel the dead of the day grow lighter. There's a chair by the shed that's seen more seasons than I have. Its paint is gone, its frame bent, but it holds. I sit, and the world rearranges itself around stillness. You don't notice hope arriving, it doesn't knock. It slides in through fatigue, through the breath you didn't realize you were holding. It waits there, quiet, patient, until you finally make room for it. I think of every small decision that led to this quiet. Every bolt tightened, every risk taken, every hour endured. They add up to more than yield. They add up to belonging. A dog barks somewhere down the road, just once. Short, sure. The sound carries through the valley, marking territory, or maybe just saying, "Still here." I answer under my breath. Same words, same meaning. Above me, the sky changes skin, purple, then ink. Stars blink awake, shy but determined. Each one a spark against the dark math of distance. I think of the people who came before me, their names carved into old wrenches, into habits, into the very way I stand. I wonder if they felt the same peace after a long fight. Maybe that's the legacy, not the land, but the calm after labor. The night settles like a blanket that's been folded 1,000 times, creased by memory, heavy with comfort. I sit in it, small. The sounds of the day drift off one by one until only breath and crickets remain. From here, the farm looks almost new again. Dark shapes, silver outlines, silent faith. You can't see the struggle in this light, only the endurance. That feels like grace. The air cools further, thick with the smell of straw and rain that hasn't fallen yet. It's a promised scent, the kind that says tomorrow will forgive what today forgot. A light glows in the kitchen window, a small square of gold against the dark. It means someone waited, someone believed I'd come back safe. That kind of faith is rarer than fuel. I think about what we built from the ashes of loss. It wasn't strength that carried us, it was repetition, the stubborn rhythm of again. Work, rest, repair, repeat. Hope hides in that cycle, quiet but loyal. I pour water over my hands. Dust becomes history running off my wrists. The first cool touch of the night slides down my spine and settles in my chest. Relief doesn't shout, it exhales. Inside, the table waits, scratched, uneven, honest. A single plate, a single light, and the hum of a refrigerator that's been here longer than I have. It sings a tune of ordinary survival. I eat slow, not from exhaustion, but respect. Each bite feels earned. Food tastes different when you've grown its story yourself. Through the window, the barn lights cast halos in the mist. They look like lanterns guarding something sacred. Maybe memory, maybe just the next morning. Either way, they keep the dark from closing all the way in. For the first time in months, I stopped making lists in my head. No numbers, no deadlines, just stillness. Stillness that doesn't demand explanation. Hope doesn't arrive with trumpets. It sits quietly across from you at the table, sipping whatever you poured, waiting until you notice it's always been there. Midnight drifts closer, though you wouldn't know it by the sky. Just a deeper shade of peace. The stars burn quiet, patient, almost shy. Each one a reminder that distance isn't always emptiness. The house creaks as it cools. The walls sigh the same way tired lungs do. I move through dim light, turning switches down, letting darkness take back its share. The work is done, the rest well earned. A kettle clicks off, its whistle a ghost of morning already rehearsing tomorrow. Steam curls upward and vanishes, proof that even endings rise before they fade. I lean against the window frame and watch the yard lights blink against the fog. They look like beacons guiding memory home. Somewhere out there, the soil sleeps under its blanket of silence, dreaming of roots and rain and reasons to begin again. I think about how far we've come, not in miles, but in mercy. Each mistake forgiven by time, each fear replaced by rhythm. That's the miracle no one writes down. Endurance with a heartbeat. The ledger on the table still waits, open to tomorrow. Numbers don't frighten me now. They're just another language for hope. Balance is a moving target, and we're learning to dance with it. I close the book, and with it, the day. Outside, an owl calls once. Low, certain, satisfied. It's the sound of the valley approving. Somewhere deep inside, a weight shifts, quiet as breath, heavy as gratitude. This was the day we turned the story. Not through victory, but through steadiness, through staying. Tomorrow will come with new demands, new noise, new chances to listen. But tonight belongs to the silence we've earned. And in that silence, hope hums like a low engine, waiting for dawn. This is the work. This is the turn, and this is the hope we plant back into the ground.